Are the Raiders the best team in the AFC? Now, look, I understand that you can sit here and go, hey, I think Kansas City's defense is better. I'd agree with you. But as much as you'd like to think the Raiders defense is ultimately going to undo them, you also have to ask yourself, David Carr or Alex Smith? Derek Carr or Alex Smith? You got to ask yourself, do I trust Alex Smith, who did get the monkey off the back of Kansas City and finally win a playoff game? It did happen. And Derek Carr has not won a playoff game. Raiders haven't been in the playoffs since they lost in the Super Bowl in 01. Or 02 or 03. What the hell was it? It was 02, I think. Raiders haven't been in the playoffs since then. So we don't know how they'll react. But as much as the Chiefs' defense is, we think, superior, Eric Berry pick 6, Eric Berry pick 2. We'll get to that in a moment. Dude, Derek Carr's pretty sick. And what we've learned this year in the NFL is, so far, now it hasn't played out as such in the playoffs, but if you have a great offensive line, skill position players, and a quarterback, and some pretty explosive defensive players, you can cover for your weakness in overall defense. Like, the two best teams in football right now are the Cowboys and the Raiders. Now, I'll grant you, the Cowboys escaped this past Thursday night. They did. On the road against the Minnesota Vikings. And the Raiders were trailing the Buffalo Bills before an incredible comeback. And the Raiders they've played with fire in many of their games. And I'd still rather trust Tom Brady, but at some point, Tom Brady won't have enough guys. He just won't. Danny Amendola got hurt. Okay. Rob Gronkowski's out. Their defense isn't that good. Look, I'm not putting my salary on the Oakland Raiders yet. I'm still falling. I'm the guy who, Mercedes-Benz for 4 or 5 years were poorly made. They just were. This is going back, I think, 7, 8 years ago. And during the same time, Hyundais were very well made. Hyundai's got into the luxury market. Now, Kia's in the luxury market. But, if you go and you're like, I need a luxury car. You know, LeBron's car was at the K5000 or something like that. Looks like a beautiful car. You put it right next to a Lexus or a BMW or a Caddy or a Mercedes-Benz. You're going to think the Mercedes has to be the better car, right? You can look at consumer reviews and be like, all right, I know that it has a great warranty, but just the name brand of it, the consistency of it, it's always been better. I'm just as guilty of that as anybody. Right? I have a couple of TVs in here. I have TVs at home. You got a Sony. Sony has always charged more because it says Sony. You know? And then you have the middle, you have Samsung, and then you have a Vizio. And then looking them on, you walk into Best Buy, you're like, all right, that one's $4,000, and that one's $750. I don't get it. I don't get it, right? I can't. And what do? You don't want to be that guy that buys the TV. The same TV is $4,000. You're like, all right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to buy the one that's out of the open box. You guys ever do this? It's out of the open box. It's only $3,000. So I'm going to overpay because it says Sony or because it says Samsung, but I'm not going to get the Vizio. I don't want to be that guy. But there's literally no difference. That's, I think, where we are with the Patriots. They've been to 6 Super Bowls. Brady's won more games than any quarterback to ever be under center in the history of the National Football League. So you're just going to go all right, that's going to be that. I'm going to do that. But I'm wondering if you guys are ready to say the Raiders are the best team in the AFC. I can't get myself there. I'm getting closer there, but I'm not there yet.